think when it comes, I will try to explain you in a very simple way. And this is one of the natural defense of a plant. And then why this is natural defense, why we call it as a natural defense, I will also explain when it comes to the further slides. And in a biological system, it's always both the systems are dynamic. So, for example, plant is defending against, to reduce the insect damage. Insect also tries to cope up, and that is called adaptive mechanism in insects. And again, I will talk to you about it in coming slides. And if time permits, since we started a little bit late, with time permits, I will give you example like how we are actually contributing something which could be part of this integrated pest management for protecting our crop plants in the farms. So we are in the process. Hopefully, we will be able to success to take this technology to the farmers. So if you think about plant insect interaction, so I think why to study? So I think I have given you background because most of our crop plants are highly susceptible, and we need to come up with better strategies or not to use very toxic and environmentally hazardous chemicals. So if you understand this plant insect interactions, we might understand how naturally plant defend against insect, and then we can understand something from them, and then we can plan a better strategies. So what kind of interactions that exist? It exists at physical level, whether biochemical and molecular level. So that I will give you some insights. And then there is a subcategorization, and I want you to pay a little bit more attention to it. So whether we should study such interactions in nature, that means the plants that you see outside, or we should study such interactions in crop plants like what we grow, like chana or whatever the plant that we grow in the field. And that is what, I mean, careful or sincere thinking is required. For example, if you think of native plants, they are surviving. We don't spray, but they are surviving. So that means they are actually their defense mechanism to handle the biotic, that means insects or pathogens like fungi or bacteria or viruses. They have nice mechanisms to manage. However, the plants that we grow in our agriculture or horticulture, like the way we grow in our farm, probably these are domesticated. And again, I don't want to tell you too much technical things, but domesticated means what? We have selected them. So something like we have selected, for example, tomato for a good kind of a fruits, we should have a good shape, red color, and so on. So while doing that, and this process is called domestication. So for example, we were hunters and gatherers 12,000 years back, and since we start civilization, we plants to grow far further, and that process is called domestication. So during the process of domestication, probably some of these agricultural plants lost the defense mechanism because the selection criteria was not actually targeted for the defense, and it was more targeted for the size or yield or nutrition and so on. So, and that's why they need this artificial protection. So that means, for example, if you go to the coming from a very rural area, so if I go to my village, I don't drink this kind of filtered water or processed water. I can drink the river water, and that's what probably makes your defense system much more active. But whereas if you see us as well as like if you go to Europe or America, they cannot drink the water which is from the river. It has to be processed. So probably it is like more of a pampered thing. So the defense system of this slightly weak, and exactly, I mean, trying to correlate this with native plants versus the plant that we grow in the field. So, so as I think I have already talked to you, structural as well as chemical defense, direct or indirect defense. This third term is quite interesting because some plants actually maintain some levels of these defense mechanism, very active, very basic level, at least at a constitutive level. And if there is a damage, the defense mechanism is upregulated. That means it is actually induced. And this is called constitutive. That means which is basic level defense mechanism is there because it is expensive. If you are putting so much money in the army, it is, I will say it's a tax. The same way that plant also puts minimum constitutive level defense, but if there is an attack, they have nice signaling mechanism, and that becomes inducible defense mechanism. Also, it happens in the local tissue as well as systemic tissue. Again, I wanted to understand what is meant by local. That means if you observe in a nature and any plant, for example, if one insect is feeding on a specific leaf, so that leaf is called local leaf. But then plant has a very nice signaling mechanism and within the few seconds or fraction of second, the message goes to even younger leaves or flowers or even the fruits that there is an insect infestation or there is a pathogen infection, and you need to activate the defense. And it happens in the systemic tissue where insect is not even actually feeding. So this is called systemic. So this is some of the terminology that we need to understand. And they come back, have this sweet at the end, which we also take a dessert towards the end. And that's how this insect infestation actually is managed by the plants. So these are the beautiful things that exist in the nature, and one has to look much more carefully. You might say this is an indirect defense, what I show you here as well as here, and there are like lots. Let us talk about direct mechanism. So for example, this is a plant which belongs to a tobacco plant called Nicotiana atenuta. And I worked when I was in Max Planck Institute for Chemical Ecology, Germany, on this plant. So this plant is, why we selected this plant? Because this comes in a nature, because this is not domesticated plants. We don't grow in our, the field. So it comes in a very high density population so that we can mimic and we can understand a lot of ecology, because it comes in hundreds of acres in state of Arizona and Utah in America. And that's why it's nice system to study such systems, so that in nature we can understand what are, like, how plant differentiate between the beneficial insects versus harmful insect, how they handle the harmful insect. And one of the mechanisms that we know is that they produce a nicotine, which is actually toxic to the insect. Similarly, this plant has very nice defense mechanism in the form of various, proteins as well as sweats. It will be my pleasure. Don't worry about formalities and so on. So, because unless we encourage students,
yes,
we will not able to really make a better future for this country or for upcoming generations.
yes,
so
yes.
I will stop here, and I will be very happy if you want me to come to your college and interact with you. I would like to see that there are several questions, queries, or some doubts that you have, and particularly I will say encourage students to be more interactive. I do understand that well. My Hindi students typically Maharashtrian, but I think
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir. We would be highly obliged. We would like to invite you to our college, definitely. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, there are some issues, but now I think now it is better. You can talk to me, because earlier we could not hear you. At least
yes, we would like to invite you to college, sir, in person. One-to-one, face-to-face interaction is we would like to have with you. Even my other colleagues and staff would like to meet you, sir.
A pleasure.
We will plan soon. Yes.
I visited your department once, I remember. Doing this Avishkar program. Yeah.
Oh, great. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I saw your zoology laboratory.
Oh, great.